Hello, this is Robert Wagner, and you are listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson welcoming you back to TV Confidential radio talk show about television. Is always happy to talk to our friend Budd Burton Moss. Budd Moss, legendary Hollywood agent and talent manager that has not only represented many of the brightest stars in film, television, and sports over the past 6 decades, but had a hand in casting many of the most iconic comedy and dramatic series in television history, just one of which was Happy Days, the beloved sitcom created and produced by Garry Marshall that celebrates its 45th anniversary on television this year. Budd Moss will be honored by the Beverly Hills Theatre Guild later in March 2019 as part of an event that will also celebrate the film and television career of Garry Marshall. We'll tell you more about that in just a second, but first, Budd Moss, welcome back to our program.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here, Ed.
Also joining us today is longtime television writer, director, actor, and comedian Howard Storm. After starting his career as a nightclub comic in New York in the 1950s, where he either crossed paths with or worked alongside such comic legends as Jack Carter, Jan Murray, Shecky Greene, Lenny Bruce, and Woody Allen, Howard worked steadily as an actor in television throughout the 1960s before becoming one of the most sought-after directors in television. For more than 3 decades, Howard helmed episodes of just about every top-rated sitcom on network television, including nearly 60 episodes of Mork and Mindy. Howard will also be honored by the Beverly Hills Theatre Guild later in March, and we're very happy to have him on our program today. Howard, welcome to TV Confidential.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
First question I would like Budd to answer first, then Howard. When did you first connect with Garry Marshall?
I first connected with Garry Marshall when Tom Bosley and I went over to meet with him to discuss the possibilities of his playing Mr. Cunningham on Happy Days.
Howard?
I met Garry when I was doing Doc with Barnard Hughes and Mary Louise Wilson. It was a sitcom. Then my agent called and said they want you to do some Laverne and Shirley's. So that was actually my third job. My first job as a director was Rhoda, and then went on to do Doc, and from Doc, Laverne and Shirley, and that led to Mork and Mindy.
I remember Doc. For a while, that was part of the Saturday night block on CBS in the 70s.
Yeah, it was a very good show, very well done, and extremely talented actors, theater people. They were all, had been doing theater for years and years. So it was a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, Barnard Hughes, for those who watch All in the Family, Barnard Hughes was Father Majeski was the character he played, but he was a very talented guy, and he later played Bob Newhart's dad on the Bob Newhart Show.
Yeah.
Amazing actor.
He was. He was wonderful and a lovely human being.
We mentioned you both are being honored by the Beverly Hills Theatre Guild in March as part of an event that will highlight the career of Garry Marshall. You not only directed for Garry, Howard, you wrote for Garry. In fact, I think one of the first episodes of Happy Days is one you wrote. That's the one in which Richie got mononucleosis.
Yeah, we wrote this thing with the idea that Fonzie catches a cold from a girl he kissed, and that was basically the idea. But the first thing I ever wrote with I never wrote alone. I always wrote with my partner, Paul Lichtman. And the first thing we ever wrote was an All in the Family, which was interesting because we contacted all the people we knew and tried to get a meeting with them, and everybody turned us down. So I said, let's call the most important guy in the business and let him say no. So I called Norman Lear, who I had met once, because my manager, Charlie Jaffe and Jack Rollins, had brought Norman in to see me work when I was doing stand-up for the part of Meathead. But Norman said he was concerned I was too small. He wanted a big guy that could stand up to Carroll OConnor's Archie. So, but that's the only time I've met him. But I called him and told him I was writing with a partner and would love to submit some stuff. And he said, fine. Set up an appointment. We went in and we sold him a show that they called Archie Feels Left Out. We called it Archie's 50th birthday. Mm-hmm. And what it was is he's 50, but he thought he was 49. And when he gets home and sees the banner across Happy 50th Archie, he goes crazy. And he doesn't go to his own party. He goes and gets drunk in a bar because he now is 50, which is to him so old.
You mentioned that when you wrote comedy, you wrote with a partner. In general, Howard, why do you think comedy writers write in two? Howard, you answer that first, then Bud, you jump in.
My feeling, for me, I don't know if it's anybody else, but it's a lonesome thing to write. It's very lonesome, and I hated it when I remember my partner got sick. He was in the hospital, and I had to write it on my own. And it was such a struggle and so painful not to have somebody there to talk to. Because I'm a gregarious person, and I love to talk to people. The only time I liked writing was when we did the rewrites of a show, and all the writers came together, and you were up till 3, 4 in the morning, improving the script. And that was very exciting to me, to be around that. I guess the fact that it's a lonely thing to do.
But you've worked with many writers, you worked with many directors throughout your career, you represented many writers and directors. Do you have any thoughts as to why it takes two people to write comedy versus only one person to write a drama?
Ed, I cannot start to list the names of the writers over the years that I've worked with and that I've known, going back to Norman Lear and his partner and people like Sam Denoff. There's a long list of them that all Howard knows. And the key to writing comedy is to bounce off ideas with your partner. To sit there and try and bounce off ideas by yourself, the old joke, it's like listening to one hand applaud.
Yeah.
And I think Howard will agree with me on that.
I do agree. And the other thing is, if it's really a good partnership, one of the writers is great at structure and story ideas. That was my partner. I was great at the jokes. I would be able to add the comedy, the heavy comedy. But he was wonderful at structure and ideas. And we had a very successful writing career. We did All in the Family. From that, we got a Bob Newhart, which was the first starring role for Henry Winkler. Mm-hmm. It was called Clink Shrink.
Mm-hmm. I remember that show.
Yeah, well, Bob decides to donate his time to an ex-con. Any ex-con guy coming out of prison trying to make a life for himself, and he's standing out in the hall waiting for the guy to show up, and every guy that comes off the elevator looks like a murderer. And Bob Newhart is getting more nervous as the time passes, but every one of them are going to the dentist, not to see him. And then finally, Henry Winkler shows up, and he's this, warm, gentle soul, but an out-and-out thief. So he says to Bob, "Why are you giving up this time? It's Monday, football. Don't you like football?" He said, "Yes, but I'm giving it up to do this." And he said, "Well, why don't you tape it?" And Newhart says, "I don't have a tape machine." And the next week, he comes in with a tape machine. Winkler does. He went and he stole a tape machine for Bob.
I have to tell you, Ed, and I'm sure Howard will agree, I first met Carroll OConnor in New York, somewhere in the late 50s, and he was the most articulate. He sounded like he'd been living in Ireland most of his life. He studied with the Abbey Theatre, if I remember correctly. And for him to make this transition to this loud, boisterous, almost ridiculous character that he created with Archie Bunker was so amazing, because it was not the real Carroll OConnor. And I just used to go and watch the shows. Our office, General Artists Corporation, put him into the series of All in the Family. So it was really kind of a treat. He made 2 or 3 other pilots before that never sold.
And of course, I understand that Carroll OConnor was not the first choice to play Archie. In fact, I don't know whether they filmed anything with Mickey Rooney, but I've read in other places that Mickey Rooney was at one point was considered the first choice to play Archie Bunker.
That I did not know. That I didn't know.
I do know that they had a failed pilot before they finally got it right. That they did the pilot for, I don't know what network it was, and it didn't work. They didn't buy it.
It was like Happy Days, Howard.
Yeah.
They had made the pilot. I can't remember the name of the actor that played Mr. Cunningham.
Harold Gould.
No, I don't. That's when I got the call, wanting to know Tom's availability, and Millie Gussie, who was the casting lady at the time, sent Tom the script, and he kind of wobbled. He said, "Oh, gee, I don't know if I want to do a series at this point in my career, having won a Tony on Broadway for playing Fiorello and having a very interesting film career." But from the moment that we sat down with Garry Marshall, his dad was always present at the time, and it was a treat just to see the two of them kind of come up with these marvelous ideas for these characters. That's when Tom kind of got hooked into the show, and we were all there for that new pilot that they made, and the rest was 11 years of history.
It was an amazing show.
It was an amazing show, and it's amazing to be spending time with Budd Moss and Howard Storm. Budd and Howard will be honored along with Eva Marie Saint and her husband, the late director Jeffrey Hayden, at the annual Beverly Hills Theatre Guild luncheon, which will take place Sunday, March 17th at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. The theme of this year's luncheon will be the Hollywood Renaissance, while the highlight of the program will be a tribute to the films and television series of Garry Marshall. Proceeds from the luncheon will help the Beverly Hills Theatre Guild fund their annual national playwriting competitions. For more information, call 310-765-1605 or go to BeverlyHillsTheatreGuild.com. Howard, when you wrote your episode for Happy Days, did you do that freelance or?
Yeah, we did. It was freelance. We always freelance, but we were very lucky. We did the first thing, as I mentioned, was All in the Family. Then we did a Newhart. Then we did a Partridge Family, and then we sold the pilot to NBC. That got caught up in a lawsuit between Johnny Carson and NBC, arguing who owned the rights to the pilot, because we had pitched it through Johnny Carson's company. It was a long lawsuit, and when the lawsuit ended, they kind of cooled off on the idea, but we were paid and we wrote a pilot that was never ever even looked at by the guy at NBC.
Well, the important thing is you got paid.
That's right. That was all we were interested in those days.
Yeah. Now, once Garry bought your script for Happy Days, did you work with him,
No, it's the only time that they took the script away from us and handed it to their writers to rewrite. And we had nothing to do with it. And when we saw the show, it had nothing to do with us.
Yes, but again, that happens in television. And
yes, very often. But before that hadn't happened to us. On Newhart, we were involved in the writing of it. On All in the Family, we were involved, and the Partridge Family. But this one, somehow or other, got away from us.
Howard, question, where was Carl Reiner at this time?
Carl, I think, was...
was he with Newhart at the time?
I don't know. I don't believe so. I think what he did, I think he was writing a pilot at the time called Flannery and Quilt with Harold Gould and Red Button. And I played Red Button's future son-in-law.
Oh, God.
His name was Sonny. Actually, his name was Kevin Costelli. His opening thing is he says to Red, my name is Kevin, but all my friends and family call me Sonny. You can call me Sonny. And Red says, thanks, Kevin.
I loved Red. He's an old, longtime friend.
Oh, he was wonderful.
Red Buttons was a very funny man. Harold Gould, who you not only worked with on that script you just told us about, but you directed many times on Rhoda. Harold Gould, I would call him, Howard, I would call Harold Gould one of those money-in-the-bank actors, and that you always knew, you always knew he was going to be good.
And he could play comedy.
Yes.
It was kind of sneaky, his comedy. You know what I mean? You didn't expect it from him. I remember one of the jokes in the thing was, it was during the Nixon era. Red's trying to find someone to share the apartment with because his daughter is leaving. And so he interviews Hal, and one of his questions to him was, who'd you vote for in the last election? And he says, I'd rather not say. And Red says, yeah, I voted for him too.
Very good.
Yeah. Carl was great at writing those kind of jokes. It was just amazing.
Who is his partner, Howard?
Carl?
Right, I forgot. I know he had worked with several people, but I always thought he had one partner for a long time.
I really...
It wasn't Hal Cantor, was it?
Not that I know of. Carl, wrote the pilot, and, well, he wrote all those shows for the first season of
the Dick Van Dyke Show.
The Van Dyke Show, which
Yeah.
was amazing. Carl is a very, very prolific guy. It's
That he is.
amazing. He's still writing. He's 96 or 97.
96, and I believe he has 2 books in the works that will be released in
Yeah.
2019. So I hope I have 1/3 of the energy he has
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I asked him to read my biography, and he said, I'd love to, but I don't have the time. I'm writing every day.
Yeah.
Funny.
Is your biography forthcoming, Howard?
Yes, it's with the publisher now, and we're hoping that they decide to publish it. It's not our self-publish, but it's interesting, and I've got wonderful blurbs from Woody Allen, Dick Cavett, Mel Brooks, Richard Lewis.
Oh, there's another great writer.
And Bob Newhart. All of them gave me wonderful blurbs. Mel's was, I may be in the minority, but I liked it.
It's a good one, Howard.
Well, please keep us posted on that, because when it's published, I would love to have you come back and talk about it on our program. On the line with us is legendary Hollywood agent and talent manager Budd Moss and longtime television director Howard Storm. We'll take a quick time out, and we'll continue our conversation with Budd and Howard here on TV Confidential.
Buying or selling a home can be one of the most stressful things we'll ever do in life, but it doesn't have to be. And no one knows better than our friends at Front Porch Realty Group. They're a community of realtors serving the Northern Bay Area of California that cares about their clients as individuals first and foremost. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to lease or sell your property in the Bay Area, Front Porch Realty Group will help you through this important transition by providing you with the right information for your situation while lessening the pain. They also work with a network of realtors throughout California who provide the same high caliber of customer service. Call Front Porch Realty Group at 415-886-7411 for a realtor referral near you. You can also visit their website, frontporchrealtygroup.com, for more information on the services they provide, including upcoming workshops and seminars. For more information, call 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com. Front Porch Realty Group, They'll find the solution that works best for you.
Missed a show? We have more than 250 archived editions of TV Confidential available as digital downloads. For more information, go to shop.tvconfidential.net, shop.tvconfidential.net. TV Confidential is available online for listening on demand as a podcast through iTunes, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere else where you could download podcasts. You can also listen to recent episodes of TV Confidential on demand for free on the Listen Now page at televisionconfidential.com.
Want a free first ride with Uber? Uber, the mobile app that connects you with a ride at the touch of a button in minutes. Enter promo code TV Confidential after you download the app to receive your first free ride up to $20. For more information, go to get.uber.com/go/TV Confidential.